Hello, this is part 2 of my guitar neck video. From my first video about guitar necks, round wall guitar necks, I received some questions and I do a part 2 to give you some more information about guitar necks. I'm talking about solid body Spanish guitar. Spanish guitar means 6-string fretted E, A, D, G, B, E, standard tuning. And so we are talking about the neck, not the headstock, not the body, not the electronics, just the neck. Most electric solid body guitars neck are made of 6 to 8 parts. There are always exceptions. But let's take this Fender standard neck and fretboard are one piece, maple, frets, second, third inlays, fourth truss rod, 5 the nut, 6 the varnish, the lacquer. And Gibsons, they got 2 more. They have a different fretboard. Here is rosewood and the binding. So Gibson often are made of 8 parts, Fender of 6 or 7 parts. Let's start with the neck. In old luthier books sometimes it's also named barrel. But the neck has to be made of hardwood, mahogany, maple, rosewood. Rickenbacker even made a metal, the frying pan, or some exotic woods like jatoba or cocobolo. There are 4 main shapes, C and U shapes. They are a bit meatier, 50s neck, or D and V necks. They are a bit thinner, or often named 60s neck. Then modern guitars often has a asymmetrical neck as well. And now the slim tapper, that's a question I received. What does it mean, slim tapper? Slim tapper means nothing. You can say slim tapper is that or that shape. Slim tapper only means that it's a bit thinner, a bit smaller than the previous standard neck of the same model. That means if for example, a guitar in 2014 model had a C shape, and now the new model, the same model line, got a slim tapper, that means it's still a C shape, but it's a bit smaller, a bit thinner, a bit less meat on the, a bit less beefy. So it's the back of the neck, it's a bit thinner. But when I read on a Gibson slim tapper, it's often a D shape. But you can read now on the newer models, it's slim tapper C, slim tapper modern C, or slim tapper D. Then you know it's a bit thinner, it should be a bit more comfortable than the previous model. Second, the fretboard. The fretboard can be maple, that's typical for a Fender Telecaster. Maple, you know, maybe from the maple syrup in the morning with the pancakes, or on the Canadian flag, the leaf in the Canadian flag, that's maple. Maple, it's very hard, not a lot of grain. Fretboards can also be made of rosewood, ridge-light, pau ferro, bulletwood, walnut, sunken treasure, the Spanish cherry, the bulletwood, ebony. Beside the hard maple, that sounds quite bright. There are the most common necks are the rosewood necks, and rosewood is great. It's a bit softer, sounds a bit more bluesy, heavy, darker. It has more pores. But the problem is now with the CITES papers, when you have a rosewood neck or a rosewood guitar, you need a certificate when you want to sell it abroad. It's like a passport, you know, that shows that that's not an illegal instrument, it's legally cutted wood. But that makes it expensive, it takes time, and guitar manufacturers, I believe they will stop to produce rosewood necks in masses in the future if this goes on. But at the moment it looks that they stop this certificate because furniture companies, music industry, they all complained. They said it's a nonsense, and maybe they stopped this certificate. Then it would be a great relief for the rosewood neck or rosewood guitar owners. On the other hand, if it goes on, the guitar manufacturers will build in rosewood only in high-priced instruments, and they will build in Pau-Ferro, Ridge-Lite, whatever, instead of the rosewood, and then the rosewood necks will go up in the value, in price. There is one more question I received. What does it mean, compound? Often you read a Fender neck, for example, it's 9 to 14 compound. That means at the first fret it's 9.5 or whatever radius, that's comfortable for playing chords. And then compound means, compound is the fretboard, on the fretboard. That means 9.5 here, and then after the 12th fret it's a radius of 14. Then the fretboard is flatter, then it's better for soloing. And third, the frets. I received some question about the fretboards, the width of the fretboard between the fret. And I just watched my guitar neck video, and it's a bit misleading. I forgot to say it's about the brand, not about how many frets a guitar neck has. I mean, when you got Gibson SG with 22 frets or 24 frets, then the first fret has the same size, and the 12th fret has the same size. It's just a bit longer. This is a 24, you see, then it's maybe an inch longer, the fretboard, but the frets have the same size in the same model line. And the difference is a 21 fret Fender like this, Avery 52, the original 52 replica. The first fret is wider than the Gibson fret, and then at the upper end of the fret they have the same. I mean, after the maybe 19-20 frets they are the same measures, but in the first 12 frets it's quite a different, and when you want to play power chords the Gibson is a bit easier. Those are the fret measures. As you can see, Fender 21 fret, and the first fret is 135, then 106, 082, and the Gibson has only 130, 0.99, 0.78. So you can see in the first 12 fret a Fender or a Gibson have quite a different measure. But then behind the 12th, 14th fret they are quite similar. So you can see that at the 21st fret they are all 0.3, 35, 36, 37. We have small, medium, jumbo, medium jumbo, tall, wide frets. But please go to my Romwall guitar necks. It's quite good explained there. Maybe as an addition, the frets are made of nickel silver. There is no silver in, but it's called nickel silver or stainless steels. They're both great, and smaller frets are better for rhythm guitar. Larger frets, higher frets are more comfortable for fast soloing. But if you take this signature model, this Eric Clapton, he's got small frets, and then he can slide quite fast over the neck when he's playing. Fourth, the nut. The nut gives the width of the neck and the distance between the strings. Historically it was made by ivory, but ivory is forbidden now, and so most nuts are made of plastic. But there are still some bone made or brass made, like the 2015 Gibson got more or less the widest 6-string neck mass-produced electric guitar neck, because the acoustic necks are wider, but the electric guitars is the 2015 Gibson has a 1.79, 1.8 neck, that's nearly 46 millimeters. The standard is 43, 1.69. Or they are narrower necks for some fast shredding machines, like the SG Naked, the SG Angus Young, or some Charvel or Jackson or Ibanez guitars. Quite famous is the Graphtec company. It's a in Canada-based company. They make for all kinds of guitars, for shredders, for jazz, for whatever. Fifth, the binding. The neck binding for protection is for protection and comfort. Gibson and Heritage, they do fret binding. It's mostly it's white or cream. It's made of synthetic plastic, and it's a sign of higher end quality if there is a binding. And as you can see with this 1957 reissue, they even have on the higher end guitars a fret binding. It's not just the neck binding, it's also a fret binding. And that makes it really smooth and comfortable. 6, the fingerboard inlays. Most Fender guitars got dot inlays. Gibson got different. The lower priced Gibson, they have dots. Exceptions are the ES335, some 59s, 60s, even custom shops, they have dots. But usually a Fender with dots is a lower line, a junior. Then the trapezoid are the standard line, trapezoid inlays. And the block inlays, it's often custom shop. It can start at the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 12th. And that always marks a harmonic position. At the 12th fret, often they have a special mark or double dots, and that marks the halfway, means it's halfway of the scale. That's the scale is between the nut and the bridge. And the Gibson scale is 24/75. The Fender scale is a bit longer, 25.5. 7, the truss rod. The truss rod is a thin steel rod fitted into a curved channel. The truss rod isn't straight in the neck, so you can adjust, you can give a relief or tighten the neck. If you want to use it, if you have a bassy neck or a twingy neck in the upper frets, you can take the plate away, and Gibson deliver in the newer instrument truss rod key, and you can adjust your neck, and then it works fine again. The truss rod comes out here, and then it's curved. It's a bit like a soft C. And then when you tighten the truss rod, the neck goes back. If you give a relief, it comes forward. That's important to know. People are often feared to use the truss rod, but when you take Fender, they have the truss rod quite open, or even Music Man, they got the truss rod here between the neck and the pickups, and then you can adjust quite easy. But Music Man's got often thin neck, so they react more if you're traveling cold, warm, so you have quite often to adjust. Music Man neck more than a Gibson, a fatter, certainly a 59, 58 neck is a baseball neck. It's so heavy, you can travel whatever you want, wherever you want, cold, warm. It doesn't change a lot. Don't get confused when you read from clockwise to give a relief or anti-clockwise. It's just where you stand. A luthier has the guitar flat in front of him, and then he says clockwise. And when you stand in front of the guitar, then it's anti-clockwise. The clock goes that way, and then to give a relief you have to do from right to left 1 or 2 times. It gives a little relief. The bassy strings should be gone. And the tip to avoid a neck break when it falls down or on a travel and it's shaken, heavy shaken, sometimes it can give a neck break. The neck break is often here. Then to avoid that, give a little relief to your strings, because the tension on a set of 10 strings is 100 pounds. That's 46, 47 kilos. And last but not least, the lacquer, the varnish, finish. Usually we have 3 finishing. That's satin, glossy, satin, or oiled necks, oiled wax necks. Most varnished guitars are varnished in nitrocellulose or polyurethane. The nitrocellulose lacquer is quite common on Gibson guitars, custom Fender. It's great for acoustic and it's quite robust, but it works with softeners, and so it shouldn't get in contact with water and not with guitar stands. I show you after why, because of chemical reaction. And polyurethane, it's often used on mid-range guitars. It's a 2-component, so when it's dried out, the polyurethane, there is no reaction on water, and but it also reacting on chemical reaction when you put on a guitar stand, that you have to know. And what's not good on polyurethane, it chips quite easy away. What doesn't do nitrocellulose. So polyurethane is great, but it's the risk of chips. Why not using a common guitar stand? Because the guitar stand protection is made of foam, and sooner or later we'll have a chemical reaction on the lacquer, on the varnish, on your guitar, on the neck, or on the body where the guitar stands. So I protect my guitar stands with a soft cotton fabric, and then you can put, and you have no issues. Also with the wall hangers, then on the headstock, sooner or later you will have a chemical reaction. So buy a guitar stand for a few quid, but take a soft cotton, glue it on the guitar stand, and then you won't have any issues. I hope those information were helpful. So we know compound is rounder here, flatter here. Slim tapper is a bit thinner than the previous same model. It's on the back. 21, 22, 24, it's not about how many frets we have, it's about the brand. And if you have some further information, please leave a message, because we are all happy if we can get more and more infos with your own experience or your own knowledge. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon.